Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today is a very impromptu video because I was in the process of editing something else and then I went out to get my hair done, hence why my hair is slightly pinkish, and I went over to Shoppers Drug Mart to pick up some stuff and they had the brand new Narciso Rodriguez for Her Musc Nude. I am so excited. We need to get in this video so I can tell you all the details about this, how it compares to the rest of the Narciso for her range, and along the way I purchased some new products that we are going to play with today. So lots of new stuff. We are going to do a full get ready and fragrance review. I am so excited. Get super comfy and let's get ready to play with new beauty goodies. I'm so excited. This is the brand new Narciso Rodriguez for Her Musc Nude. I don't think I've ever done a true unboxing on my channel. When I saw the new Narciso Musc Nude was available in Europe, I had to get my hands on it, but I couldn't find it anywhere. Frosted glass with the nude beige. I have resisted looking up any of the notes, and when I was in store earlier, I only smelled this on a blotter card. I did not try it on my person. Just smelling it out of the bottle, there's this really beautiful powdery scent crossed with something a little bit more of like a coffee. This morning before I left, I did apply a fragrance. I can't really smell anything on my skin now. The fragrance gel we'll talk about in just a moment. It's a soft, musky, powdery scent. There we go. Even though I just sprayed it, we are definitely still getting more of those top notes. There's something almost a powdery rose. I do detect something here in this initial burst that reminds me of Mousse Noir and Mousse Noir Rose. It's slightly more floral and less fruity, so for me, that leans more towards Mousse Noir Rose. I'm so excited to see how this develops. So far, yeah, prior to Mousse Nude, I had 7 of the For Her, and I have 3 of the Cube fragrances. So far, it's straight between Mousse Noir and Mousse Noir Rose. Really fascinating. We'll check in back on this in a minute because it is in that still initial stage, so you are getting the top note. So I want to let it dry down. Normally, I'm going to put on face and makeup, and with the way I like to talk without editing, it's going to take me at least an hour, so we'll be able to get those mid or heart notes as well as the dry down base notes. I'm really excited to see how this develops. This isn't something that would necessarily wear as a springtime scent unless it's going to be more of like an evening fragrance. For me, this smells definitely more in the realm of an autumn, winter, or cooler weather fragrance. Purchases here in Canada at Shoppers Drug Mart. This is the 50 milliliter size and it was $144. Let's get into applying my base. It's going on 4 p.m. so I don't really want a full face of makeup. There's a little bit of sun. I might go out for a walk later, so I'm gonna put a little bit of a sunscreen on. I did apply my favorite Round Lab Birch Juice Moisturizing Sunscreen. Since this is a chemical sunscreen, I'm going to apply a little bit more of a chemical sunscreen. e.l.f. Skin Sun Touchable Woe Glow SPF 30. It says sun protection plus makeup primer, and I have the shade Sunlight, which is the lightest. From my understanding, this is e.l.f.'s take on the Supergoop Glow Screen, which I used to have the original Glow Screen. I just didn't really get the hype. At that point, there was only one shade, and the shade was a little dark and a little warm for my skin. It's a Western chemical sunscreen. Some of the classic sunscreen filters we use here in North America, they really sting my eyes, and sometimes with prolonged usage, they really can irritate my skin. I use them more sparingly, and if it's something I am using daily, I would like to be able to take it right up to my lash line, just because I want to make sure I'm getting a full UV coverage all over my face. I'm only gonna apply 1 layer. Normally, if this was my all-day sunscreen, I would be applying this in 2 layers and taking it all over the face, but you can see I'm avoiding my eye area. Throughout the day, I have applied 2 layers of my Round Lab sunscreen. The first one I applied around 9 a.m. and the second one I applied around 1 p.m. So I've already got 2 layers of that on, and that goes right up to my eyelash line. And now I'm applying this more as almost like a skin enhancing makeup primer. If I take this closer to the eye than the orbital rim, it burns. My eyes are lighter, and lighter eyes are more prone to things making them feel sensitive or burning or itchy. I really struggle with that. So as long as I keep this away from my eyes, it's really nice, and it gives me that really beautiful effect that the Supergoop Glow Screen did, except this is much more affordable. Currently, this is not available in Canada, at least from what I've seen online and in store. I purchased this at Target and it was around $14 US, which is be close to $19 Canadian. Really, really good pricing. And yesterday I had an order arrive from YesStyle. 3 sunscreens. The first one I purchased is the Haru Haru Wonder Black Rice Moisture Airy Fit Daily Sunscreen. This has an SPF of 50 plus and a PA rating of 4 plus. Skin 1004 Madagascar Centella Hylu Sika Water Fit Sun Serum SPF 50 plus with a PA rating of 4 plus, made with pure centella from Madagascar. And then the final one I purchased is from the brand Iunic, the Centella Calming Daily Sunscreen, SPF 50 plus with a PA rating of 4 plus. This has Centella Asiatica extract at 49%, UVA and UVB protection, soft texture, and moisturizing. To avoid sounding like I'm contradicting myself with chemical sunscreens, the e.l.f. Woglow uses the North American sunscreens, avobenzone, homosalate, octisalate, and octocrylene. In Asia, they have a different set of sunscreens, and that's a whole different topic for another day. Asian sunscreen filters that fall into the chemical spectrum, I generally tolerate those really well on my face and around my eyes, so I can take them straight up to my eyelash line like I am my Round Lab Birch Juice Moisturizing Sunscreen. While this sets on, let's go back to fragrance. Really beautiful. It's definitely drying down into more of a powdery scent. That smell of like tonka bean or coffee is almost dissipated. Really beautiful, really, really powdery. This could be influenced by the fragrance layering combination I had on this morning. I was inspired by one of my subscribers because she really loves this. I was chatting with her back and forth in comments, and then when I found out how much she loved it, next time I was at duty free, I purchased it. Yves Saint Laurent, or YSL Paris, and this is Eau de Toilette. This came out in 1983. If you want a true like 1980s soft powdery floral fragrance, this is stunning. I love it so much. You definitely get those really crisp powdery florals that just make my heart so happy. This was my base layer, and on top of it I applied a little bit of Kenzo Flower powdery floral. But there's something about Flower by Kenzo that does have this slightly frosty smell to it. Like it's almost like flowers that have been kissed by a morning frost or a morning dew. It's so beautiful. When I layer these together, it creates a really beautiful kind of icy floral. So right now in this transitional period from winter to spring, this just smells like crisp blooms in this late winter, early spring air, and it makes me so happy. It's fascinating because as this dries down, I don't really appreciate the similarity to Musc Noir or Musc Noir Rose like I was previously. It almost reminds me of a mixture. One of the fragrances I have in my spring tray, which is Narciso Rodriguez for Her. This is the Eau de Parfum, and this is confusing. This is the pink bottle in a black box, where the Eau de Toilette is a black bottle and a pink box. So make sure you're looking for the one that says Eau de Parfum when you're purchasing this in store. The Eau de Parfum is a really beautiful musky floral. This has some really beautiful powdery rose notes in it. Thinking about how this fragrance wears on me, I almost appreciate more of a rose scent when I wear this compared to what I'm getting from Musc Nude. In a way, it does have that kind of fresh, clean aspect that Narciso Rodriguez for Her Pure Musc has, except this is definitely more heliotrope, and it's a little bit more of like an iris violet blend. It's a very clean, powdery scent right out of the shower, wrapped in a warm towel, fresh from the dryer. It is so beautiful and it's so cozy. This is so far the only Narciso Rodriguez fragrance I have repurchased because I ran through my first bottle and we have a newer one here. Other Narciso fragrances I have in my collection from the For Her range that I didn't speak about today, don't feel like are similar to this, is the classic Narciso Rodriguez for Her Eau de Toilette. Remember, Eau de Toilette, black bottle, pink box. I don't really pick up anything similar from the original Narciso EDT and the new Nude Musc. Also, I do not appreciate any similarities between Narciso Rodriguez for Her Forever, which came out, I think this was either 2022 or 2023. This is the one in the black to clear ombre bottle. To my nose, that smells like a really beautiful hybrid of the original For Her EDT and EDP. If you want kind of the best of the world of these two without having to buy both and layer them, then I feel like you would really appreciate the Forever variation. And one of my favorites that I don't feel like gets enough love, but this is like the perfect springtime Narciso fragrance, is Narciso Rodriguez Her Musc. Clean, powdery floral. My husband always says it smells like stationery, and the more I wear it, the more I enjoy it, the more I appreciate that kind of delicate stationery store. It almost reminds me of like buying pens and stamps to do your own like stamping for letters. It's a really beautiful, timeless scent. It also reminds me of an anime I love watching on Netflix called Violet Evergarden. If you were someone who wants a really beautiful animated show to watch that has so much heart and it will bring a tear to your eye, if you are someone like me and you love things like that, it is so beautiful. Again, that is called Violet Evergarden and it is on Netflix. That show could be summed up in like a smell-o-vision with Narciso Rodriguez for Her Musc. And if you're curious why sometimes I say Musc and sometimes I say Musk, here it's spelled out M-U-S-C, and that's French, that's Musc. And in English we would say M-U-S-K, which is musk. Same thing, just different pronunciations. I also pulled out the Narciso Rodriguez for Her. This is the hair mist. This definitely smells more like the For Her EDT. Well, no one talks about the hair mist, and this is really lovely. It's currently 4:06, so that means I have about 8 more minutes until my sunscreen is fully dried down. I like to give my sunscreen 15 minutes to set before I apply sunscreen. Let's check out what Fragrantica has. According to the Fragrantica passage, it says the main accords are white floral, agree, musky, agree, powdery, agree, sweet. I think it has a little bit of sweetness to it. More so in that opening with that slightly creamy tonka note. Woody, yeah. Vanilla, yeah. Rose, I don't pick up a strong rose note except for in the beginning when it kind of smelled similar to Musc Noir Rose. Animalic, not really. Patchouli, maybe a little bit. Amber, far back, more of like a grounding note. People are saying they like it or love it. Some say it's okay and few say dislike or hate. Hate is such a strong word. I don't like using that. More people are saying it links spring and fall. Agree, definitely more of like a transitional fragrance. Third place would be winter, and then fourth place summer. More people are saying it's daytime with nighttime following close behind. Going down to the notes, it says we have top notes of white flowers, jasmine, and pink pepper. There's the jasmine. Pink pepper, we'll see how it wears. Sometimes pink pepper is one of those things that kind of blossoms the longer you have it on. White flowers, just a generic white flower note, but there is jasmine, which I do agree with. In the middle notes, you definitely have that signature Narciso Heart Musk, which I love, and orange blossom and damask rose. Orange blossom, I think I can appreciate a little bit more. It does have that sweetness. A lot of times orange blossom I associate with kind of that more kind of like powdery marshmallow sweetness. Think of something like Killian's Love Don't Be Shy, Parfum de Marly, Oriana. Really beautiful scents. I could maybe see the orange blossom damask rose. Again, more so in the opening. As it's drying down, not so much. Base notes, tonka bean, patchouli, cedarwood. I don't really get any of those right now, but again, your heart notes you're gonna smell after everything dries down and really settles in. That can kind of vary from person to person, fragrance to fragrance. So here at the top, 42 say it smells like Narciso Rodriguez for Her Musc Noir. Agree. So 42 agree, 19 disagree. Secondly, there is Musc Noir Rose, which is what I thought it smelled like in the opening. As it's drying down, not so much. But 22 say yes, 28 say no. Looks like Jean Paul Gaultier Classique. Narciso Poudre, MAC Shade Scent, and Creme de Nude. The Body Shop, White Musk, Montal, White Musk Libertine, Narciso from the Cube range, which is now discontinued, and a few other fragrances I don't have. I'm gonna grab the MAC scent in Narciso Poudre, smelling the fragrance again. Okay, it's definitely drying down more into a soft, powdery scent. It's definitely one that's kind of pulling lean into the skin. The little bit I did on my wrist, this is definitely feeling more like a skin scent. Narciso Poudre. Yeah, no, this is definitely going to be a little bit more of a creamy powder. It does have those white floors that really blossoms when you apply it to the skin. But this is more of like a warm, cozy, hold you down kind of perfume. You want something creamy and powdery and enveloping, but you also want to be noticed. Really, really beautiful. And then we have the MAC Shade Scent and Creme de Nude. You know, when I worked for MAC, I would go through bottles of it. My scent preferences have changed. Some things that I used to love, I now find a little too heavy. And this is one that I can find really overwhelming. It's a sweet, almost like sugary toffee scent. It's definitely got a strong gourmand presence, but it does dry down into more of a creamy sandalwood musk. It's not a bad scent by any means. I love it. It's very nostalgic. I find this very overwhelming. 1-2 sprays max, because it does project with a lot of potency. Everything with fragrances is subjective. If you have the same fragrance, you will more than likely have a very different experience. So far, Musc Nude is drying down into a really creamy, powdery, almost like a lotion-like scent. I really enjoy this. Now we're gonna move back into makeup. I'm gonna apply a little bit of a mist, give it a little extra boost of hydration. e.l.f. Stay All Night Blue Light Micro Setting Mist Long Wear. I do want to kind of go with the glow a little bit more, and I want to use a nude cream blush. So in my YesStyle order, I purchased another Lily by Red Love Beam Cream Cheek. This is in shade 05. The name will be in the description box down below, as long as shopping links if you choose to shop. I don't really think I need to blot off on the back of my hand. I'm going to use it on the high points of my cheek as a brightening shade under my powder foundation as like a brightening blusher. Really kind of lifting this area and pulling it forward. For most people, especially if you were my shade or deeper, this is going to be almost like a cream highlighter. It's really, really beautiful, but in my opinion, it's not the most wearable shade as like a true blusher. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my NYX Bear With Me Serum Concealer in the shade Light. I want to apply this just under my eyes. And on these more casual days where I'm wearing a tinted sunscreen with a little bit of something under my eyes, I like to focus using my concealer to do the heavy lifting. This NYX Bear With Me Serum Concealer is really lovely. It's one of those concealers that I had a really strong love affair with when it first came out, and then it kind of got pushed to the back of my drawer. I really enjoy it. I have one of these Daisy Fruity Lip Jam. I have shade 06 Strawberry Jam, a little potted balm. For the powder foundation, I'm going to use my Chanel LeBlanc Brightening Compact Foundation, Long Lasting Radiance Protection Thermal Comfort. That is a very odd name. I don't know what thermal comfort is. The shade I wear is my standard or typical Chanel shade BR12, and I'm gonna apply with a Wet n Wild powder brush. I'm starting over the areas that I concealed and applied that cream blusher, and I'm just gonna whisk it over. When I first begun using the Chanel LeBlanc Brightening Compact Powder, I wasn't a big fan because this is, I wanna say it's like $94 or $97. Here, the shade range is a little bit more limited, and when you try to build it up like a traditional powder foundation, like say for instance, you wanted to get the same level of coverage out of the Chanel LeBlanc that you would out of something like Bare Minerals, the Laura Geller Baked Balance and Brighten, or even MAC Studio Fix Powder Plus Foundation. You try to build it up to that level and it can get really heavy looking really quickly. For me, the beauty of the Chanel LeBlanc Powder Foundation is to use over a tinted sunscreen, a tinted base, or something that gives your skin just enough tint to kind of even out the tone, so that way you can use the powder foundation to set things down and even out the overall tone, because this really excels when applied as a sheer wash that you've taken your time to really blend and meld into the skin. It's not one I would repurchase just because it is expensive. And there's better things out there if you want a powder foundation that you can build up or sheer out even more that are a lot more affordable. But we're gonna enjoy it and cherish it while we've got it. Several weeks ago, I had purchased a few things from Shoppers Drug Mart, and I wanted to try out some products I couldn't get my hands on at Sephora for one reason or another. And one of them was the Bare Minerals Gin Nude highlighting blush, and I purchased the shade Rose Glow. I have been wanting to use this so badly, but it's one of those products I really wanted to save and use here on camera and share with all of you. There's so many products that I just want to kind of share the first experience together, so we can have that kind of like girlfriend moment, like we're sitting here, we just went shopping and we're trying things out for the first time. I am using a Rephr 05 and I'm gonna apply this up high on the cheek. I'm using the mirror behind the camera. That's beautiful. Definitely not blushy, at least on my skin tone. Over top of that cream blush that we applied earlier, that we've set down with the powder foundation, it's just a really beautiful glow. As I kind of blend and buff in, I am seeing that slightly warmer rosy shade. It's slightly warmer than my all over skin tone. That's okay with me. That's really beautiful. Also, I don't think I've addressed my hair. My hair is slightly rosy. Today I had a hair appointment. I wanted for a trim, and originally we had booked for a partial highlight, but I don't know, my hair is pretty bright blonde and I didn't feel like I really needed highlights. So I had read on the Behind the Chair website that when they were doing the blonde for the Barbie movie, it was mixed in with a little bit of a peachy shade. I was like, can we do the same thing with the pink? And my hairdresser was like, that's great. I think that would be a lot of fun. I'm gonna try this on the bridge of the nose. That's too pretty not to try on the nose. Ooh, Bare Minerals has really created something subtle and beautiful. If you are someone who wants to highlight, but you feel like a lot of highlighters exacerbate your skin texture, just make things look more prominent on your face that you don't want to make prominent, this is a really beautiful powder. There's several different shades, so there will be different shades for different preferences. This is really pretty. This is also one of those products I don't feel like a lot of people would appreciate here on social media because it doesn't have a lot of impact. The beauty is in the simplicity. I really enjoy that. Getting back to my hair, I had read for Barbie to give Barbie that really beautiful bright blonde. They had mixed in some peach with the blonde formula and it was almost like a glaze applied to the wigs, and I was like, let's try that with pink because I suit pink better than peach. And she was like, I think that would be a lot of fun. We tried it. She did warn me that the way my hair responds, my hair really likes to grab on, and a lot of times toners can overdevelop. Right now we're a little more pink than I planned, but give it a few washes, it will fade out, and I'm very excited. Next, I'm gonna use a expanding shade blush, Peri Para. This was a limited edition blush. This is shade number 14, Pastel Lavender. I don't know if you can still get your hands on this, but if you go on any websites like YesStyle, Style Havana, or Olive Young, you can find these really beautiful pastel blushers. And I am a sucker for cute products because life is too short not to have cute things that bring you joy. Cute little bunny. I don't know if it's gonna pick up on camera or not. I'm trying out this new mode with my iPhone. There's a new video mode on here called Cinematic. So I've been trying that and I notice it blurs the background, but sometimes when I'm editing, I notice that some things can get blurry. I'm trying to figure out if I like it or not, but I think the footage looks better when I look at it after it's been uploaded on YouTube. Ariana Grande's beauty line, R.E.M or R.E.M beauty, and this is called the Hypernova Satin Matte Blush in the shade Pinking of You. And I feel like this blush is gonna have a lot of pigment, so we're gonna start with a little bit. That's really pretty. We're gonna go through, polish and buff in. I'm gonna pull this here into the outer corner of the brow. Between my sweater and the base products we've applied, this is really pretty. I have always enjoyed wearing like pastel shades like pink and blue, but after I did my seasonal color analysis and I was professionally diagnosed or placed into the light summer color palette, and I found out how the pastel pinks and the blues, the greens, and even the purples. Pastel purple is a shade that in my day-to-day life I never ever used to wear, but when I found that was in my color palette, I was out shopping one day, I saw a sweater that really caught my eye and it was on clearance for like $20, so I purchased it. That sweater gets so many compliments. I feel so great in it. If no other reason, try out seasonal color analysis just to find some new colors, because I find wearing shades like this pink or any of the other pastels I really love, I just feel so alive. I mean, a lot of other things are going on in life with like working on myself and the same stuff I keep mentioning in several different videos. I just feel so happy me so alive, and it's almost like I feel like a new person sometimes. I just feel so at ease, and you know, coming here on YouTube, sharing things, interacting with all of you. You all say some of the best things, and I feel so blessed and so privileged to be able to share all the things I love here with you on YouTube. It's truly a blessing, and I really look forward to the time we get to spend together. I need to get a little bit more of the blush on just to spread it out. That's really pretty. This is turning out really, really well. We're gonna really continue to play with the color pink, and I have this Dayseek eyeshadow palette, number 18 Berry Smoothie. So the interesting thing here is one half of the pan is matte, the one half is either a shimmer or a glitter, so you kind of pick and choose. I want to start with the more beigey pink in the bottom. Now this video is really impromptu because this morning I was in the process of editing another video, but when I purchased this afternoon, I was like, I want to get that video up. This is something I'm excited about, and any of you are in the same boat that I am in with the new Narciso Rodriguez for Her, this helps you. Also, I'm just very, very excited. So we will see if I can get this video recorded and edited without pulling an all-nighter. That is something that I also am just so impressed by. There are several YouTube creators that I've made friends with along this journey that are able to work full-time jobs, come home, record and edit and post, you know, 2, 3, 4 videos a week. I don't know if it's just my process of working, the different research I like to put into topics, or the way I like to do things. I've done 2 videos in the past, and for me that was like a 60-hour work week. That's more than I've ever worked in like a corporate job. So I found for me to have that balance I want in my life, 1 video a week is like the sweet spot for me right now. I want to use a mix of the matte pink, this matte lilac, and a little bit of this matte, like softer lilac shade. And I'm just gonna use the mix of those 3 shades to add a little something to my socket. And a lot of times when I'm doing my eye makeup every day, I load up my brush with the eyeshadow. I'll give it a little tap off. And I don't know if it's just from doing makeup for years or what. I take my brush, I know the angle I want it. I want my eyes to look bigger and more rounded. I like to angle my brush up. I just kind of take it to get in my crease at like a 45-degree angle and wipe back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, circle under. And a lot of the time I'm either looking down or I'm replying to a comment or things like that. I am multitasking while doing this step. Imagine I've got my phone in my hand, I'm looking down and I'm blending out. I feel like things are right. I look in the mirror, maybe touch up under the eye, and that's kind of where I leave the shaping for my eyes on a daily basis. Before I do any type of liner, I want to add a little bit of shimmer just over my eyelids. Of all the shades in the palette, is I'm gonna use my finger to start with that minky shade and just press it right over my, that's so pretty. That's what I love about KPD eyeshadows. They are so soft and so powdery. So even a shade that looks really intense, it's not gonna go on as intensely as you think it will. We're gonna apply a little bit of eyeliner, and we are gonna use the Benefit Roller Liner Liquid Eyeliner in the shade Brown. Before I put these into my empties bin, the 2 eyeliners I was using previously are the Stila Stay All Day Waterproof Eyeliner in the shade Alloy, which is a gray. Before I started lightening my hair and going more blonde when I had more of my ashy brown hair, this gray was one of my favorites, but I found as like I've lightened everything up to kind of embrace my seasonal color palette, sometimes Alloy can feel a bit tense. And I also feel like the Stila pencil, the liquid liner pens, are drying up faster and faster. The other liner I was using is the Clio Super Proof Pen Liner in Kill Brown. This is in shade 04. This is like a rosy brown, more of a slightly chubby felt tip. So much product comes out of it and it dries down very quickly. I found it very, very intimidating. And most times when I would use it, I would find myself taking a cotton bud in my cellar water, removing most of it, and then going back to the Stila. I feel like I've taken this off more times than not, just because it was a little intimidating. I am not the best with liquid eyeliner. All throughout my makeup career, liquid eyeliner has never been the best, and even when I was better with it, I was better at using using it on other people than myself. So that's why I really love the Stila, but this just feels like it's drying out. I wanted to try a new shade. Those are gonna both go in my empties bin. Now we're gonna go back to the Benefit Roller Liner. I tried this out for the first time several years ago because it came in a Sephora favorite set. I really loved it, and the brown shade is really nice. Just as beautiful and just as easy. So there it is, no cuts or anything like that. You can just see it went on very, very easily. That too easy. So let's see if we can make it just as easy on the other side. I do like a slightly softer eyeliner, so I'm gonna take my Jane Iredale angled eyeliner brush and I'm gonna use the matte. I don't know, it's almost like a mix between like a mink brown and a rosewood shade, but I am just going to use that. And I'm gonna go right over the liquid eyeliner just to soften it down just a little bit. And also it will give it a slightly blurry edge. I am so happy with that. I also like how easy it is, because if a product's not easy to use, 9 times out of 10, you're not gonna use it. We're gonna reach for the product in our collection that is easy to use. Next, I'm gonna use the Benefit They're Real Tinted Lash Primer. I used to really love this, and now I'm struggling a little bit. I have really been into using a lash primer to thicken up the appearance of my lashes, but I am finding if I use anything other than a waterproof or tubing mascara formula or just a traditional white mascara primer, I always end up with smudging under my eyes. Tower 28 mascara, make waves. So far, nothing has transferred, so we are gonna lock that in very quickly. I always try to talk, so there's like no bits of dead silence that I have to cut out. I cannot talk and apply a clean application of mascara to save my life. It is really challenging. So now I'm gonna blot my lip, take down any of that balm, and I want to take teeniest little dot of concealer on the back of my hand, and I'm gonna pick it up with my finger and I want to blot over my lips. Now, if this was 2012, I would apply a clear lip gloss and call it a day because I am off to my shift at the MAC counter. But times are different, and I'm using this as a base to allow my lip stain to show up a little bit more. So the first one I'm gonna use is the Daisy Water Blur Tint. This is in shade 07. I will again have to list the full shade name in the description box. And I want this color to more so be on the outer portion of my lip. That went a lot more pink than I was expecting. No worries, I'm gonna take my tissue, blot it down. Now we should have a rosy stain, and I'm gonna use one of the newer products. This was the final product that came in that YesStyle order I purchased. This is from the brand 3CE. This is the Syrup Layering Tint. This is the Syrup Layering Tint in the shade Alive Pink. And I want to keep this more so on the inner portion of my lip. Now you've got that mix of the cooler pink that we applied to base and the slightly more neutral pink on top. Blot it down, and now we have just this really nice enlivening pink. When I was at Target, I was just cruising around the aisle. I was looking at all the products that we don't have here in Canada, and I saw this product from the brand LA Girl. I've heard a lot about LA Girl, and I've tried some of their like Pro Wear concealer and shade adjusters, but I've not tried much else from the brand. So I was very curious to try the Pro Setting Powder Brightening Loose Setting Powder. Color corrects and mattifies in the shade Soft Pink. I'm very curious to see how this is going to go. When you open it up, you have this like little cover and a little powder puff. One of the powders, you have a little mesh sponge. I am going to pick up some on the sponge. I'm gonna work it into my hand. Let's try setting with this. Now, since this is a pink powder, I want to take it here on the center portion of my face, almost overlapping my blush. Okay, so from one side to the other, it's definitely mattified, but I feel like it's deepened the color on my cheek. I'm gonna take my powder brush, and again, I want to try it this side with the powder brush just to compare. You know what, maybe it's not looking darker, because on my hand, it almost has like a whitish pink look. Maybe it's just where the highlight is being taken down. It looks a little bit more matte because it's not reflecting light in the same way. I'm gonna use the sponge just because I think the sponge looks a little bit prettier. That's pretty. A little bit on the nose because I'm gonna get shiny there no matter what. I feel like it did make my top lip look a little bit darker, which is good. I always feel like my upper lip is lacking color. So maybe it is deepening my skin tone a little bit. I almost feel like now I just need to do a little bit all over just for the sake of being cohesive. It's pretty. I'm definitely going to use it. I like the finish it gave. Let me look up close just to make sure everything looks the same up close as it does from further away. Oh, okay. So I'm going to come in closer. It definitely helped mattify and smooth the look of my skin. A little bit of settling right around the nose. That's normal for me. Overall, everything looks really nice. I am happy with the way the makeup looked under all of my recording lights. This almost looks like a pink auburn. Very interesting. It's eerily similar to my mom's hair color. I mean, my mom is more of like a true auburn. Wow, that's slightly uncanny. I've never had my hair look like my mom's hair to this degree. Fascinating. Let's do a check-in now and smell the final dry down of this Narciso Musc Nude. Oh, well that's changed quite a bit. Now that like woody sandalwood's coming through, it's a lot warmer than it was previously. Let's check the time. I've been recording for 1 hour and 9 minutes and 13 seconds. It is 4:56. So the fragrance has been on for almost an hour. We're definitely going to be into that dry down phase now. It's a lot warmer than it was when we first applied it. It's definitely warmed up and developed. To my nose, it's not something I can smell. So say for instance, my arm down by my sides, it's a normal day. I'm talking, I'm socializing. I don't smell my perfume at all. When I bring my arm up, I smell my arm. So say for instance, you are in the office, you're taking something from a shelf, pulling over or whatever you're doing to have your arm in front of your face. It's a warm, almost like a warm cashmere smell. Almost like, you know, when you put on a clean cashmere sweater. Well, that doesn't make sense. Maybe some people dry their cashmere in the oven. I want to say the oven, the dryer. I know for me, I'm just very paranoid about shrinking sweaters. So I always hand wash sweaters, roll them up in a towel, and then lay them flat to dry. So they're not really kind of warm and fresh when I put them on. They're just room temperature and dry. If warm cashmere had a smell, that is what I'm getting from this brand new Narciso Rodriguez for Her Musc Nude. It's interesting. It's definitely a lot warmer than I was expecting because for me, the only Narciso Rodriguez fragrance I have that I would call warm is the Narciso Poudre. Narciso Rouge, it's similar to this, but it's more cosmetic. It's more of like a powdery lipstick scent and it's more sensual than warm. This is more of like that warm enveloping scent, a warm creamy hug that embraces you and keeps you warm on a cool winter day. The other Narciso cube I have is Crystal, and Crystal is almost like a watery floral scent. It's like a rose and peony. It's very bright, it's very sparkling, gentle, it's beautiful effervescent scent. So the other Narciso Rodriguez for Her, so we have Musc Noir Rose, Pure Musc for Her EDT, and then for Her Fleur Musc, for Her Eau de Parfum, and then for Her Forever Eau de Parfum. I would not personally classify any of these scents as a warm fragrance. They all smell very clean, a little moody, a little sensual because they are very heavy in those more skin enveloping musky note. I find it just a very beautiful, classic, timeless, you but better, you but elevated scent. And for me, they all wear pretty close to the skin. And with the exception of the Narciso Poudre, or if you wear Narciso Rouge and you really spray it on, like you really cover yourself, I find most of these for me to smell more like a personal fragrance or like a very tight scent bubble. Like it's not really going to extend past arm distance. I have heard some people say that a fragrance like Musc Noir Rose is like a going out scent because when they put it on, it really is a powerful beast mode fragrance that really radiates from their person and can be smelled all throughout. For me, I don't get that from any of the Narciso fragrances, and from a lot of fragrances in general, the ones that do wear really loud, really heavy, I generally am not a fan. For me, the most intense fragrance I have in my collection that I like to wear and I find really enjoyable is gonna be something like Dolce & Gabbana Devotion, which is more of a warm caramel vanilla with a sprinkle of citrus. It's so beautiful. This has been a very long, very rambly video. I'm gonna be very curious to see how the editing goes. So again, thank you all for taking the time out of your day to spend it here with me, and I always look forward to reading your comments. If you have any questions, comments, or you just want to chat and banter, feel free to leave me a comment or send me a message over on Instagram. My username is the same here, the Zach Dooley. I cannot wait to see you and chat with you all later. Until we see each other again, I hope you're taking care of yourself wherever it is you are in the world. Bye.